Ho ho ho! Hi, today's theme is wrist care. So we take a lot of pressure in our wrists, especially in down dog and any of the arm balances. So today I'm going to show you a few ways to strengthen your wrists, also to increase your wrist mobility, and also some alternatives for if you're practicing and your wrists do get tired. And then we'll finish with some nice self-massage on the wrists. So you can join in or you can simply watch. So to begin with, this is a really powerful wrist strengthening exercise. So you can sit, stand, however you like, as long as you're comfortable. And bring your palms together and then lift your elbows up. So you want to have your elbows about as high as your wrists. And then see if you can peel your fingertips away from each other. Keep the elbows up and then bring the hands apart but as close together as they can be without touching them. Keep peeling the fingers back. Hopefully now you're feeling some burning in your forearms. Keep the elbows up. We'll take one hand forward, one hand back towards you. One away and one before. Keep the elbows up. And then come back up to the middle, moving slowly but keeping them together but not touching. Sorry, keeping them apart but not touching. Elbows up, go back the other way. Come back up to the middle, make sure the elbows are still up. And then give it a shake out. Well done. So you can interlock the fingers and do a little wave a few times. That's a really good way to strengthen your wrists. We'll look at some mobility now. So come onto all fours. Have your shoulders over your wrists. And then we're going to draw the shoulders over the wrists. So as you can see the angle, you're getting a lot of wrist extension there. So that's a nice way to get a bit more mobility. So moving as forward as you feel you can. And then coming back onto the heels. And doing this a few times. So you can breathe in to come up and over and hold. Push into the fingertips as well. And then exhale, push back. So you can probably feel that the more you do this, the more extension you'll be able to get in your wrists. And that will really help with things like wheel. And anything where your hand's in that position. Maybe some of the arm balances. So do this a couple more times to really get lots of movement going on. Lovely stuff. And then come back to a neutral spine. A nice way to release the wrists after this is to turn them inwards so the palms of the hands are facing up. And then bring the weight side to side. And that's a nice counter pose for what we just did. So these are all little nuggets that we often don't have time to look at properly in class. Alright, then we'll come and have a look at some alternatives in downward facing dog. So it's not an alternate posture because there's always child's pose, as you know. And there's always dolphin if you want to work on your shoulder strength. That's a really good alternative if you want to keep the power up in your practice. But let's come into downward facing dog, spreading your fingers. So that's really important. No pockets of air, spread the fingers, push down into the hands. And so we're really focusing on the wrists here. So you can do what you like with your legs. You can keep your knees bent. Push into the hands and then see if you can lift the heels of your hands off the mat so that you're really just taking the first knuckle is really sort of bearing the weight, and then very slowly bring the heels of the hands back down, but try not to let them bear too much weight. So you're really digging into the fingers, digging into that first knuckle, and there's virtually no weight in the wrists at all. So that's a really nice way if you want to take the pressure off. You can also bring your shoulders up into your ears. So bring the heels of the hands back down, shoulders into ears, and then you might find this tips the weight out of the hands. A little bit more weight will go back into your feet. It's a tricky one to kind of explain, but hopefully you can feel it in your body. If you, on purpose, really bring the shoulders all the way up, the weight will tip back into your feet a little bit more. So have a little go at both of those alternatives. So lifting the heels of the hands and also bringing the shoulders up into the ears. So that's some things for you to practice, particularly if your wrists tend to get really tired in practice. So let's recap this one. And then the mobility exercise, forward and backwards, the down dog alternative. And then let's give our wrists a little bit of a squeeze to give them a rest. And this is always welcome as well in your practice. Really get into all the little ligaments in there. And then another nice way is to bring the backs of your hands together and then bring them in and make a few circles like that. That's a really nice way. And then change direction. Well done.